Hi everyone, and I thought I'd just come on here. I needed to come on to talk about this. It is a serious subject, so be aware of that. Okay, it's not going to please everybody's palate. Okay, just be aware that this may be something that will upset you. Okay. I just feel before we get into this, I just feel that the world is that there just seems to be an epidemic of narcissism. Narcissism. Why that is, I don't know, but I don't know about you guys, but every time it seems like I would say once in. If I go out daily, I would say once a day. Once a day, I get misogynistic comments. Okay. Or if I don't go out, then it's like because that kind of puts you off going out anyway. It just feels like there's a huge epidemic against women, and there seems to be this great big movement here of narcissistic, misogynistic men who are hating on girls and hating on boys. And I'm a person that will dare to actually broach this subject. Okay, I'm just going to move this light a little bit. It's just glaring a little bit there. So I'm quite daring to bring this up because I think we're all kind of realizing this is getting worse. This is getting worse. There's girls, young pretty girls. It's always pretty girls, okay, that get slapped in the face, and then these boys run off, and they think it seems like a movement at the moment that of hatred of women, like it's all women's fault. A lot of these people have mothers and fathers that are narcissistic and brought up to have no manners, no. This is all, you see, if you are a misogynistic man and you believe in this hatred towards women and you agree with it, oh, well, you're all bitches and all that kind of thing. I'm going to show you with this show, live show, how this misogynistic narcissism where this can lead to. Okay, which is you're saying that it's all women's fault. You're all gross. You're all nasty. Let me tell you, we're all human beings. Okay, none of us deserve abuse. None of us. It's like it's allowed. It's like it is allowed because it's, you're a woman. So what? You're a woman. I'm not racist. I'm not being racist. I'm not being insightful. You're a woman. So it's like it's allowed. So let's get on to this. So any man here who is like, oh, stupid bitch, going on about misogynistic men and abusive narcissistic men, I'm going to read this article out for you guys, okay? And this is where this could lead to if you keep with this mindset, which really enraged me when I read it this morning, okay? So brace yourselves, okay? I was drawn to this so strongly because I felt I need to say something about this movement, and this is where this could lead to for women, okay? So brace yourself, guys. Being a nurse, I was drawn to this too because I want to save people's lives. Okay. It's okay. Okay, this is the Mail Online, and this was published on the 22nd. Oh, sorry, today. Oh no. Sorry. Yeah, 24th of September. It was updated and it was published yesterday in the Daily Mail. So it's quite fresh. So let's get along with this. It keeps jumping all over the place. So, husband is accused of killing his wife, 61-year-old, by neglect after she died days after being found alive, infested with maggots, fungal cancers, and septic ulcers, in worst condition doctors had ever seen in a living human. Now, you wouldn't even treat a dog like that. You wouldn't even treat a dog like that, okay? Mother of two was found alive, infested with maggots and flies in a Liverpool home. Valerie Wallach was rushed to hospital, but she died almost 20 days later. Her husband, Richard Wallach, today appeared before Liverpool Crown Court. Wallach, 66, is accused of manslaughter and gross negligence, which he denies. Now, this was published by Joseph Laws. Thank you, Joseph Laws, for publishing this and making awareness of this. A husband neglected his dying 61-year-old wife so badly she was found infested with flies and maggots and riddled with shockingly painful skin ulcers, a jury was told today. Firefighters and paramedics were admitted to the home of Richard and Valerie Wallach and discovered a woman who was in the worst condition of living human they had ever seen. It breaks my heart because I'm a nurse and just to leave somebody like that. The woman of two was confined to sit in an armchair substantially soiled with urine and feces. Prosecutor Richard Pratt told Liverpool Crown Court. He said, although still alive, she was infested with flies and maggots. The court was told Miss Wallach had a fungal infection which turned out to be cancer, while her legs were severely ulcerated and she appeared to be overwhelmingly septic. Miss Wallach was rushed to hospital on August the 24th, where her condition shocked even experienced medical professionals, who found her barely able to communicate, the court was told. Her health was so grave that experts decided her care was to be palliative to make her comfortable before her death. Mrs. Wallach survived 19 days before dying on September the 12th, 2017. Earlier, when told by firefighters it might be necessary to remove his wife from their home by removing a window, Mr. Wallach objected to his windows being removed from his home, as they were new. You know, they're new windows, you're not taking them. And he did not want them to be removed because they were brand new. So he made it even more difficult for these firefighters to get his wife out to the hospital as quickly as possible. Oh, then at the hospital, when the doctor informed Wallach the prognosis of his wife was very grave, that she was going to die. I'm really sorry, your wife is going to die, and there's nothing much we can do. The court was told, he replied, "Thanks for letting me know, but who is going to sort out my problems? I've been constipated for weeks." Okay, anybody that finds that abuse to women is okay, this is the sort of man you're going to turn into, okay? This is the sort of man, a big warning here, that you will turn into a monster like this, who has no compassion and no empathy. When they told him his wife was going to die, he turned around and says, "Yeah, well, thanks for letting me know, but what about my problem? I've been constipated for weeks." Gosh, if I was the nurse looking after that woman, gosh, I would have certainly made a big statement there. Mr. Wallach, 66, accused of manslaughter by gross negligence, which he denies. Paramedics who attended noticed the foul smell and build-up of rubbish inside, and he decided to wear protective clothing while entering. Mr. Pratt said, "When eventually we were able to gain access, the conditions were truly appalling. There were a large quantity of bags of rubbish and rotting and mouldy food, such that they had to wade through the bags to reach Valerie. So she's not able to clean and cook and things like that, so he just left it. He just left it. He didn't even bother to take care of his wife." Okay. They had to wade through large quantities of bags of rubbish with rotting and mouldy food, such that had to wade through the bags to reach Valerie, who was seated in an armchair in a bay window, with the floor around her being completely covered in rubbish. So this is the sort of man, if you stay with a narcissist, this is likely to happen to you. They would treat you like a bag of rubbish, okay, and leave you to rot, and not bother to look after you. In fact, they would exaggerate the fact that you're not worthy, okay? You're not worth looking after, not worth keeping clean. You're not worth, you're as equal to these bags of rubbish and garbage around you. This is how a narcissist ends up if you stay with them. And this, if you're thinking of like, there's nothing wrong with the misogynistic man, this is how you would end up, okay? There is something wrong with haters and misogynistic, narcissistic, abusive men. And this is how you would end up, like this. A monster, okay? I'll carry on with this because it's so upsetting, and I had to read it, and I wanted to share this because this misogynistic hatred to women has to stop. This is appalling. To make this some movement that's okay for men to do. Okay, they had to wade through these bags of rubbish to get to Valerie, who was completely covered in rubbish. Oh, her appearance was pale. She was struggling to breathe and had a vacant and unresponsive expression to the paramedics. She had flies all over her. Her teeth were blackened and she appeared overweight. They put an oxygen mask on her face, but realizing so she possibly had diabetes that was untreated also. And also I would have to say that a narcissist would not, when you're ill, this is to the extreme, but they would not take you to the doctors. When you say, I think I may have something wrong with me, they would abuse you for saying that, for actually wanting to be cared for by somebody else. This is how severe narcissists can get. She had flies all over her teeth were blackened, she appeared overweight. They put an oxygen mask on her, but realizing they could not remove her on their own, so they called up for backup. Okay, they called for backup, the paramedics. As they waited, they continued to try to clear away all the rubbish around her, which contained feces and urine. When they moved the bags, which had covered Valerie and her legs, ulcerated legs, they saw that her legs were swollen and covered in a brown, thick brown slime. The impression formed by a more experienced paramedic, Helen Roos, was that she had been sitting, eating, urinating, and defecating in the same chair for months. The lawyer said it was an inevitable task. Okay, it was it was the unenviable task of the firefighters to lift Valerie from the chair in which she had been sitting. As they did so, she responded for the first time by screaming and becoming agitated. As she was removed, Fire Officer O'Neill noticed that there was a lot of blood in the chair and bodily fluids, and skin was falling off. And she was still alive, had also been left behind as she was, so they took her skin off as they moved her. Oh God. The collective experience of the fire office spanned over 30 years. They had never seen a living human being in such a disgusting, poor condition. Nurses also said they had never seen pressure sores like those on Miss Wallach's body. The ulcers to the buttocks, back and thighs, both heels, were categorized as a grade 4 pressure sores, said to be of the worst kind, which revealed deep tissue damage extending to the bone. I'm sorry, this is disturbing for some of you, but being a nurse, this really, and also being interested in narcissism, the combination of the two, I had to read this and I had to share this with the world. Okay, these would have been very painful, extremely painful, guys. That really, pressure sores right down to the bone, would have been excruciating. These would have been very painful, said Mr. Pratt. I guess that was a medical person, but also distressing due to the foul-smelling leakage from the ulcers. It would have taken weeks or months to reach this level, possibly years, I would say. Wallach's behaviour after his wife's death was strange. A nurse noted, yeah, I would have noted, I think a lot of nurses would have noted, as he did not appear to be concerned or grieving for his wife. He seemed only to be concerned about his own position. That is so narcissistic. So narcissistic, no empathy, no compassion, a psycho, living with a psychopath. When the bereavement officer at the Royal Liverpool Hospital offered to pay for a basic funeral package for his wife, he became agitated that it did not include the provisions of a car for him. Oh my God. Mr. Pratt said it must have been obvious to anybody, including his defendant, that his wife's confinement to a chair in which she ate, urinated, and defecated, surrounded by bags of rubbish, in excruciating pain from sores, he observed, was seriously threatening her life, with an obvious risk of death if untreated. And yet he did nothing. He did nothing at all to help her, or much more importantly, to arrange help for her until it's much, much too late. Narcissism, psychopath. His conduct, observed by medical professionals and others at the time of her discovery and subsequent treatment, revealed a man who only cared about himself and displayed a wholesale indifference and lack of care towards his wife. That indifference, that lack of care, is so striking in this case as to make it truly exceptionally bad, and thus a crime. And the crime is manslaughter. The Wallachs had been married for 15 years and had moved to Liverpool in 2003, having no visitors to the house and no relatives other than 2 children, the court was told. The trial continues. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, guys. I being a nurse, I just and a lot. I know I have a lot of nurses following me too. I just find this absolutely But in fact, when I first read it, I cried. I cried for that poor woman, and I cry because that woman was probably an empathic person. Well, I don't know that for sure, but she probably did all the cleaning. She did everything for that man and took care of him. And him being narcissistic like that, having no value for this, I guess any woman, leads to this, which is murder. It is murder. And it's a secretive, silent murder. And this is what narcissists do. If they would see you have a heart attack in front of them, or an episode of a fit, or they will observe you having a diabetic, episode, whether that's hypo or hyperglycemia, and just watch you die, and just watch you fall into a coma and die. They would actually get pleasure from watching you in pain. That's what narcissists are all about. They enjoy watching you in pain. Any narcissists out there, misogynistic, following this movement here, this is how you'll end up. Be proud of yourself, okay? You have no empathy, no compassion. You hate women, and you like to see them in pain. And this is the monster you are, okay? This is the monster you are. This is how far you would take this. You would blame it on, oh, an illness. It was an illness. Nothing I could do about it. She just collapsed. I don't know anything about that, but there's no excuse for somebody rotting in a damn chair with every condition going, refusing to help them. That woman possibly couldn't even stand up because of the ulcers on her legs. That's probably where it started. She probably had diabetes. That's why she was overweight. She also had breast cancer, fungating breast, needed dressing every day. She was septic. I would guess that she was so exhausted and tired she couldn't even stand up. Poor woman. So please, God, if there is a God, I'm praying to God, okay? Please stop this misogynistic, narcissistic abuse and this movement. Please stop this. I'm praying to God, okay, to stop this abuse and this movement of the hatred of women, misogynistic narcissism towards women. It needs to stop. It needs to stop now. Okay. Thank you for joining us, guys. Sorry, it's a serious subject. I'm a nurse, or I used to be a nurse, but I am still a nurse at heart. I couldn't let that go without sharing this with you guys. Okay. Let's have a look at some of your comments here. It's heartbreaking. I found that really shocking when I read that. Yeah, women as well can be narcissists, and also do the same. But there is a movement. I watched this footage of this man just slapped this woman across the face on a train or a bus, and just for no particular reason, just because of this new movement of hating on women. Okay, I don't know what it's called. I think there's a name to this. You need to stop. You need to stop doing this. Okay, let's have a look. Nancy Grace, hi there. That's right, attacks by random events to make false claims, as someone else said, to try to push to suicide with insurance. An organized crime. There's too many there's too many grey areas, isn't there? Allowing somebody to die without helping them. It's murder. It's murder. If somebody collapses and you just leave them, or if they've got sleep apnea and they can't breathe in bed at night, and your partner or your husband can hear that you can't breathe and you could stop breathing but does not do anything about it, and you wake up in the morning and you're so exhausted every day. I'm so tired. I wonder why. Why? Because you stop breathing in the night and your husband doesn't tell you, or something like that. If he's mentally ill, I would say it's psychopathy. Okay, that's a mental illness. Um, yeah, yeah, it's just kind of come out this today. So I just want. All I'm saying is narcissism, misogynistic, misogyny has to stop, because I feel if this continues, and this where it could lead to. If you know and you've studied narcissism, this is one thing that they do. They like to see their victims in pain, and they actually get pleasure from that. They actually get pleasure of, they would like not, that is too extreme, because urinating, defecating, and her being surrounded by rubbish bags. It's just a blatant thing to say, look, you know better than the rubbish bags. You know better than the rubbish bags. And seeing that person like that is it's pure sickness. It's sick. It's abuse to the extreme, and it's murder. It's murder. That man knew that woman was suffering in pain, and he watched it and enjoyed it. I'm going to leave it there, guys. But this misogynistic followings, hitting women just out of the blue, has to stop. The government needs to do something about this. They need to put a heavy kind of that there's more rapes, there's more just hitting women in the street for no reason. There needs to be heavy kind of sentences for this kind of thing. These men are dangerous, okay? These men are dangerous. So please, please, please stop this. Please stop this. We don't want our daughters, our mothers, and to be treated like this. A woman in a who's attractive, who's 60-year-old, having total disrespect from young lads. It has to stop. It has to stop. Yeah, let this lady be in peace. Hope she's in peace now and in a better place. And I'm going to leave it there, guys. It upsets me. I'm sorry. Please put your comments down below. And thank you for listening. I just wanted to share that, okay? And bye for now. Bye-bye.